Hi, and welcome to episode 3 of the gojenn podcast. I am Jennifer, your host, but I am gojenn on Ravelry and my email. And now I have a website, gojenn.net, which is where the podcast will live. So I'm really excited about that. I'm even more excited with the number of views that I've had for my videos. Somebody besides me and my mom and my daughter and grandson are watching. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. That's just, I'm so glad. I'm so very, very glad and thankful. I've gotten some comments about things I could maybe do better. And so I'm going to try to work on those things. And I'm just happy that you're here to share our knitting night together, or our crochet night, or our crafting night, or whatever we want to do. So just sit back, pick up your needles, your hooks, and something to drink, and we're ready to go. All right. This is going to be a special episode because I have an interview at the end of the podcast. So stick around for that. It's very special. And about 3 minutes of an interview. And so the first thing we're going to do, since this is a knitting and crochet podcast, we're going to talk about knitting and crochet. This week, I only worked on one project because I had to get my Sweet Eleanor scarf finished by tomorrow, and that's so I could submit it to the Harry Potter Knitting and Crochet House Cup Challenge. I am thrilled beyond words. If you saw episode 1, you'll know that I was not that happy with this. It wasn't looking like the picture, but it is just beautiful. I blocked it, and it blocked out very, very nicely. This is the Knit Picks Hawthorne yarn, and this is the Laurelhurst colorway. You can see it's a very nice, long, generous piece. I think I'm just so happy with the way that it has come out. This is the Sweet Eleanor pattern. It was written by Quince Tart. It's a free pattern on Ravelry for crochet, and I love it. I did not make any modifications to the pattern other than because my yarn had some color discrepancies between the two skeins. I alternated every 2 rows. And after the piece is done, you don't get that at all. You don't get that there was a difference in the yarn. Isn't that beautiful? So that's the best thing. Knitters and crocheters, we may gripe like crazy while we're working on something. But once it's done and it turns out to be a fabric art, that's what it's all about. That's where the joy comes from. And then if you give this as a gift, the person will hopefully love it as much as you have. And it's a wonderful thing. So this is the only thing I have worked on all week, with the exception of something I found when I was looking for a pair of needles. Another project I have to do this month for the Harry Potter Knitting and Crochet group is I want to make a monster. Because if I make a monster, I can submit it to both the Harry Potter group and to the Nerdopolis group. So I started with Okay, first, I was looking for the pattern, for these needles. I found them somewhere else, but meanwhile I came across this yarn, which was, it was working on itself to be a hat. This was made BR, before Ravelry, and it's one of the first times that I ever crocheted with some fine sock yarn. I wanted it to be beautiful, but I chose a pattern with cables and bobbles, a lot of very intricate stitch in the pattern. But then I chose this yarn so that the yarn takes all the focus. Well, that defeats the purpose of the bobbles and the cables and the beautiful stitchness. So I ripped it all out except for this. I'm going to take this, which would have been the top of the hat. This was going to be a hat. So I ripped it all except for this, and I'm just going to take this to my desk at work because I like little pieces of fabric color. It makes me happy at work because I have to be there. I might as well have some yarn fun while I'm there. So after I reclaimed the rest of the hat, I cast on for a monster out of this sock yarn. And of course this is some self-striping sock yarn. I have no idea what kind it is. I'm sure it is some Hobby Lobby. Probably. I don't know. It feels like it has wool content and the stitches stuck together. So I don't think that it's just acrylic. I think that it is some wool. But I have no idea. It's probably at least 10 years old. So that's deep stash. So we'll just see what that turns into. I'm going to make that monster. So since I didn't have any finished objects except for my Sweet Eleanor this week, and I really don't have any whips because all I did was work on that. So here's my plans for this coming week. I want to work on my sweater. I want to get some significant work done on that because that has to be finished by March 31st, and I need to be at 50% by the end of February. This is Valentine's Day 2015, and it is President's Day weekend, so I get the holiday off on Monday. And I'm taking an extra day of vacation on Tuesday to make this a 4-day weekend for myself. So I plan to just keep the needles and the crochet hook, whatever I have to do, just to stay very busy with that. Do want to work on my sweater. I want to work on that monster, get that finished, and then I want to make some more flowers for my modern blanket of flowers, patterned by Julie Yeager. I've had somebody ask me about that, if it's a knit along or crochet along. I got the idea to do it from the Minerva Turkey group because she's making a sock yarn blanket out of blanket squares made with sock yarn. Duh. And I tried to make a knitted blanket square, and it's just too fiddly. I do yarn crafts for relaxation and calming myself and de-stressing. No, I would not be de-stressed if I was making those blankets. So just, no, I couldn't do that. So I decided to crochet them into the flowers. And maybe I'll set up a thread on the group on Ravelry, gojenn. Um, and if you knit, you can knit blanket squares to your heart's content. If you'd like to crochet some flowers, the pattern is by Julie Yeager. Um, I'm not sure if it's free or if it's a paid pattern, but it's an excellent pattern, very well written. So it's something to do with your scraps of sock yarn, and an ongoing project that can last who knows how long, until you're tired of it, or you stash them away and then you pull them back out again. No big deal. I also have some sewing planned for this week. More projects for the Harry Potter House Cup, but things that I want to do. I want to make a zipper project bag, and I bought some satin fabric to make satin pillowcases. My mom and dad swear that satin pillowcases keep your hair from coming out, and my husband can use all the help he can get with that. So I'm going to make pillowcases. Nothing special, just pillowcases. Excuse me. So you can see that I have a lot to do, but I do have a 4-day weekend. But I plan to get a lot accomplished, especially Saturday, or today's Saturday, so especially Sunday and Monday. I want to get some things finished up, check them off my list, so that I can concentrate on my sweater full time for the rest of the month of February. I've got a lot done, but there's a lot more to do, so we will see. As far as stash enhancement goes, I don't have anything new to report. Last week I showed you my Valentine's Day gift to myself. Yay! That way you know you're going to like what it is. And this is what I got for myself from Simply Sock Yarn Company. It's a neat mug. Knit the yarn. And then a lovely skein of, a lovely skein of yarn from the Cyborg Craft Room. This is some sock weight yarn. It is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon fingering weight. This colorway is Tainted Love. It's a nice red, purple, pink, just lovely yarn. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Wouldn't it make a nice, another Sweet Eleanor if I decided to do that? I won't, but because I don't really like to make the same pattern more than once. But I could make something similar. There's shawls, hats, all kinds of things. I could break down and actually knit a pair of socks. I could do that. We'll see. Okay. I think that's all that I have as far as knitting and crochet for February, or for this week, because that Sweet Eleanor scarf took all my time. I want to be sure that you know how thankful I am for you joining me. I have a group on Ravelry, so please come and join that. The videos are on my YouTube channel, which is gojenn0927, but that will be linked from the Ravelry group, so you can just get there from the Rav group to the video. I have just been flabbergasted, shocked, and somebody besides me and my mom and my daughter and my grandson are watching this. And thank you for every person who has subscribed to the channel. Thank you. If you've joined the group, I'm so glad. I want your feedback. What is it you'd like for me to talk about while we have our knit night like this? Because while I was working on the Sweet Eleanor, I watched podcasts. I watched The Fat Squirrel, Suburban Stitcher, Dark Matter Knits, The Weasley Sisters. I like an upbeat podcast. I think I've said before, I'm not going to be showing you techniques, how to do a single crochet or how to knit and purl, heaven forbid. I'll probably do it wrong, but I'm not going to do any kind of thing like that. I just want us to have a little time to sit and chat, relax, give you something to do while you're crafting. So if you have any ideas, anything at all, just post it in the group, send me a message, and I will be glad. If I can, I had to get my grandson to show me how to find my comments on YouTube. So there's still a learning curve. I'm working on it. I did want to share a quote this week. When I think about people who have done things that are just mind-blowing, I often think of Walt Disney. And I know a lot of people think he has done horrible things for the state of Florida, turning swamps and ecologically poor practices maybe for the wildlife that lived there. But if you, which I love Disney World, love Disney World, and I always have a real sense of awe when I first step onto Main Street in Disney World. And to think, one man imagined it. And look what he made. You don't see that kind of effect from one person very often. And I'm amazed. So when I think to myself, or thought to myself, why not do a podcast? I did think some of what Walt Disney would say. And this quote says, "The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing." So that's what I did. I quit talking about wanting to do a podcast, and I did. And somebody besides my family's watching. Thank you. I'm doing it. I hope you like it. I hope you come back. Now, we're going to have that special interview portion of the program. I hope you enjoy this. Okay? Here it comes. Wasn't that fun? Wasn't that fun? So, as I said before, thank you all for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I am so glad to have my friends here with me tonight. Thank you, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Okay, this is going to be a special segment of the gojenn podcast. This is my grandson, E, and he has some questions for me.
Yes, I do. I have a few pointed questions about her podcast. Okay, gojenn, how did you learn to crochet?
I learned to crochet from my aunt Estelle. You remember Estelle?
Yeah.
She taught me when I was a little girl how to crochet, and all I made was one very long chain. And then I didn't do it much because it was no fun then, but she did a lot of crocheting, and then I got back into it when your mama was a baby.
Cool. What other crafts do you do?
I used to do scrapbooking, and back in the 70s I did some macrame, and I did a lot of cross stitch at one time.
Nice.
But now I knit and crochet, and I try to dye some yarn.
Nice. What's your favorite thing that you've ever made?
The favorite thing that I have ever made is a the green blanket that I gave your mama when you were a little baby.
Mm.
It's called the Babette blanket, and it's one of my favorite things. It's in my intro.
Ooh. What's your least favorite thing that you've ever made?
You never saw it. It was a bunch of blanket squares that I knit when I was first learning how to knit. It was awful.
Why did you start your podcast?
I started my podcast because I like watching podcasts, for one thing. And you and I had talked about it a lot, and you said that you thought I could do it.
You could do it.
And I did.
You did do it.
And he's a big supporter.
Best helpful hint for a noob.
Best helpful hint for a noob is to join Ravelry. Because if you were just learning how to knit or crochet, I would say go to Ravelry and look at all the different things you could make.
Okay.
And then if you want to learn something new, I would send you to Craftsy to take one of their classes.
Nice. Interesting.
They have cooking classes and photography classes. You could totally do that. Is that it?
Nice.
Do you have any other questions for me?
That's it for our interview. I hope you guys enjoyed this little segment. It was pretty fun.
Best interviewer ever. Ever. We will rent you out, won't we?
Yes.
We will. He's pretending.
No, I'm not.
You do Twitch, right?
Yeah.
Which is an online thing where you stream it live. Kids. Kids. Thank you.
We will put a link to that.
We will. We'll put a link in the show notes, right? And I'm supposed to point down because they'll be below the thing?
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
Go down.
We don't know. They may be up. All right.
We may have an annotation there, right, like around here. Just if we have an annotation, then click Grammy's face.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Next segment?
Thank you. Yeah.